singing for me tonight. Come on. I'm gonna sing one, and then you guys sing one, and then I'll sing one, and then you guys sing one.
Great. So what's going on? Did you have a nice time at the Supernova Ska Festival?
I did. This was nasty. So, what have you been up to lately?
Working. It's always working. Never not working. But working on good things. Some for less than Jake, some not for less than Jake, but mostly for less than Jake. Yes.
That's good. So, like, how was Supernova? And, like, I guess what was your favorite thing about Supernova?
I really enjoyed seeing a bunch of friends. It was wildly like a reunion of friends from Connecticut because there was a lot of people, bands, like people behind the scenes that like kind of run some of the recording and audio stuff. And they're all from Connecticut. So it was wildly like a homecoming for me in a weird way. But it was cool just to kind of run into old friends that I haven't seen in a long time. It felt like I had gone to my high school reunion recently within the last couple of years. It felt like going to my high school reunion again, but with people that I liked.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it was good.
that's fine. I was gonna say too, I saw you like I was trying to figure out too. I saw you like the Yankees. Are you like do you live in Connecticut or where do you?
I live in Connecticut. I'm born, raised, still live. Will stay here till they put me in the ground somewhere.
Okay. Is that like Red Sox or Yankees land? I don't really
It,
know.
it's kind of middle. It's like the Mason-Dixon line of the north of New England. So some people go for the Red Sox, some people go for the Yankees, some people go for the Mets, believe it or not.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So I also enjoyed the summer circus, like because the greatest show on earth. And I like that you have like the different show like themes and stuff. So why did you decide to go with like the circus idea?
Well, we were driving in Australia. We had a show somewhere and it was about a 2 hour car ride. And the five of us got into a car, and I said, by the end of this ride, we are going to come up with a name for our summer tour in the US. And so this was back in October. And we bounced around a couple of names. And when I think it was Roger that said Summer Circus, I'm not sure. I'll say Roger. I'll give him the credit. It might have been Chris. Chris might have said it. Somebody said Summer Circus, and I was like, that sounds fun. I bet we could do something fun with that. And when all five of us are on board with an idea, usually fun things occur. So we were able to kind of take that, and it did so well, actually, that we're going to do it in the UK in February and March, and we're calling it the UK Winter Circus. And then probably next summer we'll go to Europe and we'll do the Summer Circus Europe 2026 or something, and then maybe we'll do it again in the US in 2027. Who knows? It's I'm just glad that people liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. It'd be like Hello Rockview. It'll keep going.
Yeah, it's just like it was after we did the Rockview tour, we kind of knew that we had to do a little bit more than just go out there with a backdrop and say, "Hey, it's us." So it ended up working out pretty good. And then having Suicide Machines and Fishbone and Bite Me Bambi and Cat Bite, depends on what side of the country you saw us on as openers. That was fun. It was a fun summer.
Okay. I was gonna say too, because I like that you had the circus theme, and I like that Buddy had his little disappearing act. And I know too, I was watching the late night with Les and Jake like back then, and you had like the juggling lady. I was like,
Yeah.
you should have brought like the juggling lady on tour.
Yeah, we talked about if we were going to have some circus acts on stage. And, I think when you start planning on stuff, you have great ideas, and then some ideas, as you realize as you're out there, just become a little more. impossible than others to have on a nightly basis because you only have so much time that you're trying to do things. And we were lucky we had this guy that found us on the Warp Tour, and he was a stilt walker.
Yeah.
So he came out on stage with us in, I think, Long Beach, and people thought it was like part of our act, but he was just some guy that was there. So it worked out.
Well, Buddy disappeared, so
Yeah, buddy, he's magic. Yeah, right.
was. What's saying? So Les and Jake had said like I think it said in August 2015 that you were gonna do the Pac-Man breakfast cereal jingle, and it was gonna like come out with like a whole like commercial and thing, and like be released. So like, did this happen, and like, how did that come about?
See, sometimes like much like in the modern day media now, sometimes there's things called fake news. So maybe that was fake news. Maybe we're just ahead of the curve a little bit. I don't know.
Okay. I never know really what to believe and what not to believe.
And I think that it's better that way. You know what I mean? Because it then leaves a shroud of stupidity or mystery, whichever you want to call it. That's what makes our band so charming, I think.
Oh, well, I was hoping it was real.
I was hoping, you know what? I was hoping for that paycheck too, between you and I, Sarah, but it not there, unfortunately.
Oh, well, I like Pac-Man. That would have been cool. I mean,
Yeah,
we still have the song, so that's good.
at least we have the song. That's at least we have that.
Yes.
Let me tell you a story, and if you lie to you might want to see it. You can't be living lucky, wishing on nothing, watching your fingers, hoping you stick. So give me something to believe in.
Okay. So talking about the things on stage. So did you write "Give Me Something to Believe In"?
I did. I wrote it with our former drummer, Vinny. He had sent me over some lyrics, and Buddy and I had a song that we had worked on. And it was just a horn part, really. It was the horn part that you hear. I think that was actually a bass line that he had. And I was like, oh, that would be a cool horn part, you know? And he started playing it. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's neat. And then I was living with him at the time and his now wife, but he was dating his wife at the time. And they'd gone out to dinner, and Vinny had sent me over those lyrics. And I wrote that song in as long as they were gone to go to dinner. It was probably like 2 hours. They came home and I sang them pretty much what you hear, like as far as verse chorus type stuff. There's a couple things that changed here and there, a chord or two, and a couple of words, I'm sure, but
So just playing. I have like 5 upstrokes.
All right, here's a straight up ska song for you guys that we never fucking play.
Ever.
Nor did we rehearse it.
Ever.
Make some noise for Mr. J.R. Wazalewski on our sax. He wrote this song.
Some recognition.
It's fucking awesome. The song's called Give Me Something to Believe In.
yeah, I mean, that was like, that's what I really enjoy that song. We just don't play it that often because we have so many songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We figured if we were going to play it, let's play it at the Ska Fest.
Well, I was glad you played it. That's like the first song and the main song I listened to on See the Light.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you like that song. That's wonderful. Thank you.
So like, do you write some of the lyrics and the music, or like both, or is it and or?
It depends on the song. So that one Vinny wrote, it was actually just a page of lyrics that he gave me.
Okay.
And then it all just kind of fit. Like sometimes stuff fits, it just fit the melody or whatever. It just was everything was right as I was singing. I was like, oh yeah, this all just fits here. And you have to finagle a few things. So maybe I wrote like 5% of the lyrics, but he had wrote a lot of those. But a song like Walking Pipe Bomb, I wrote 90% of those lyrics, maybe like 15%, but 85 to 90% of them I wrote. It's just depends on the time frame of the songs.
So I kind of talked to Roger about this before too. So he said like, and I kind of said too, like Less Than Jake doesn't really have like love songs, but then I kind of noticed that you do have like cover love songs. So I thought that was kind of interesting that you do like the cover love songs, but then you don't really have love songs, I guess. So what are your thoughts on this?
Um, I think Lie to Me is kind of a love song, you know. That's we were never a band that wrote songs about girls, and I think that the first or like love or relationship, and I think the first time that the word love was used in a song like Less Than Jake was maybe Move. Like we never had songs like that. Just
Yeah.
wasn't like a topic. Vinny, when you have a lyricist, somebody that writes the majority of the lyrics for a good certain period, you kind of stay in this space. And then when you start exploring outside of that space, it's usually because other people have other ideas and, whatever. And so anything prior to, say, 2019 was well, no, I guess we'll say prior to like, say, 2010, right? It was 90, not 90% of the lyrics were Vinny, all Vinny. And then like probably from like 2011, 2012, then maybe it was like to like when he left, maybe he was like 70%, you know? He was still a good majority of the ideas of, lyrically what we were doing and, you know, but the music still came from Chris and Raj and a lot of lyric ideas came from Chris and Raj too. And, so, and then myself later on, more music stuff. So, it's just everybody has their process, and that was our process has changed over the years when it comes to songwriting. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool, you know.
We had the I Think I Love You song.
Yes, we
That's
did have a cover of I Think I Love You. That was back when definitely the band wasn't writing anything about love songs for sure.
So I like that you did that cover song.
I like that cover too.
I like the angrier ones too, but I was just saying it's fun. Okay, so like you guys make fun of In With the Out crowd a lot and how like people don't like it. So I guess like I don't know, what are your thoughts about In With the Out crowd and like do you like the way it turned out or I don't know, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think it's a great record. I think there's probably some of our best songs were on that record, songwriting wise, you know. It's just we were trying something different that we had never tried. But again, it's like if you keep doing the same thing over and over, it gets really boring, not just for you, but probably for the listener too. And for every record that you want everybody to love, there has to be something that people are not going to love too. But it's funny now that that record is now 20 years old, right? Um, Next year it's 20 years old.
Yeah.
And it's grown on a lot of people. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, geez, that's my favorite record," or this song or that song are my favorite songs. And again, when we put a record out, it's not ours anymore; it's yours. And so it's up to you to be the curator and love it or hate it or feed it or let it die or whatever the hell you want to do with it. You know what I mean? Because like we've took it as far as we can. So then it becomes yours. So my opinion of it, whenever we release something, I think everything that we release is the best record ever, or I wouldn't want to release it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's it's I don't know. It's like having a bunch of kids, I guess. you know which kid do you like the most?
Okay. So I guess too, like how did the co-writing of Overrated with Holly Knight come about?
Yeah, it was just a connection between her and our producer Howard Benson for that. That's how a majority of those co-writes came to be. It was like through the label. We were part of Warner Brothers at the time, so that was yeah. She wrote "Love Is a Battlefield," and that's fucking cool.
That's cool. I was gonna say I like the Overrated music video and it kind of I don't know, it has like a lot like going on. And so I guess it's in like how did like that music video come about and like how did you decide like all the things you wanted to do, like the Crazy Islander and like then there's like the mall jail and the porn shoot and all this other stuff.
Yeah, like that. I actually watched that video the other day, and I was um that was a crazy day because it started super early in the morning. We flew out to LA to do it. think we were out there for something. It was so long ago now, I can't even remember. But I definitely still had long hair and I was definitely still smoking cigarettes and I was much younger. 20 years ago, I was 28 years old, I guess, when we did that. And yeah, I mean, it was a crazy day. Chris actually got arrested that day. Like that wasn't a joke. He actually got arrested when we were in the mall. And then we had to go to the porn place. Like when you do a video, a lot of times a treatment they call it is presented to you, and so that's just like a big word for a script. And so we read the script, and it was like this like supposed to be like this guerrilla. We're gonna go do this stuff and be these crazy, and but everything is overrated, you know. And it was a long day because we started at like 6 in the morning, and when you see those club shots at the end of the night where like Chris is like on the pole or whatever, like that was like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Like it was a long day. And, we were like out in the corner of Hollywood and Vine, just like burnt and like fucking, they're like, be energetic. And I'm like, oh man, I'm not. But we had it was a really interesting day. And when I look back at that video, it was fun. You know what I mean? Like thinking just what a bunch of assholes running around knowing better and just, acting a fool.
Yeah. Okay, that's like, so did you have permission or like why did he get arrested?
No, everything was really guerrilla style. We didn't get
Okay.
we didn't get like the proper licensing. Like everything that we did was like even when we were in Hollywood and Vine, like it was super guerrilla style because like you're supposed to get um, license and it costs a lot of money for all that stuff. So we're just like, fuck that. We're just gonna roll in and roll out. So it ended up being a lot of fun. Long day, but a lot of fun.
That's cool. And then he had like all the eyeliner on.
Yeah, that was because that was of the time, everybody was
Yeah.
wearing eyeliner. It was emo was all the rage, and we were still less than Jake.
There's a bunch of kids over here. You guys having fun? This young lady's like this. Are you sure? All right. Like I said, my dad was in real estate. He used to drag me to the company picnic every year, and I hated it. I hated all the kids that were there. I hated the stupid frickin' games they played.
You like the water
prizes were shitty, but this is probably better than my dad's picnic. Let's hear it for us right now. Thank you. Hold on. The other problem I have with the picnics, I love a good potato salad.
Oh,
absolutely love it.
Yeah.
However,
too much
Florida,
mayonnaise.
I know Florida and mayonnaise. And this shit, we'd be sitting out there for 7-8 hours, man. You'd see the kids starting to back away, but the adults were getting saucy. They'd hit the potato salad late in the day.
That
Not
nice
this guy.
foam on the top.
Not this
Yeah.
fucking guy. All right, we're gonna play a song right now. It is our biggest hit ever. It's not saying much.
Great transition.
It's gonna be
Potato
great.
salad to hits. This is what we do. Every once in a while.
Okay, kind of about this. So how did like the co-writing of The Rest of My Life with like Mark Hoppus come about?
Yeah, that was a little more natural. I think it was through our A&R guy, but Mark, we've known Mark a long time, and he got a hold of a page of Vinny's lyrics, and he wrote a demo for Rest of My Life, and he sent it, and then I ended up working on the demo with Mark a little bit. Like I kind of rearranged it. The arrangement that he sent was a little too Blink like for us, and then I was like, we have to make this ours, and so I think this would be a little bit better of arrangement. And then I think Howard added a chord or two at the end where it really like brought the room together. So I mean, I remember sitting in a rehearsal studio with Mark and showing him my arrangement of it, and he's like, now that's fucking cool. And I was like, cool, man. I'm like, what about this? And he's like, yeah, that's great. And like it just was a good vibe. So I'm glad that we have that song.
Yeah, like it. So that's cool. I'm still waiting for the Less Than Jake Blink-182 tour again.
Yeah, keep waiting. That's on those guys, unfortunately.
Oh.
That's all right though.
So I'm kind of, this is the last question about. So what do you think of like the less horns on this album? And I was watching some of like the live DVDs too, and I was like, when you're not playing horns, there's one like part where you're like juggling and Buddy's like reading a magazine. And I guess I don't know, what do you feel like you need to do while you're not playing?
It's like I said, when you've been in a band for a long time, you go through phases, and at that phase, I guess there's a moment where horns became not cool, and that's okay, like, and we were kind of not phased out, but we just didn't do as much. And so, live we still did just as much. And so I never like really thought too much beyond it other than this is just like a phase. It's not a phase, mom, but it is a phase. So I don't think about that stuff too much anymore. Like, cause now when we record, there's always more stuff than just playing horn. There's like, sometimes there's keyboards and then there's sometimes backing vocals and there's a lot that goes on. So like, um, when we're recording, I never look at it as like what am I going to do now? You're there to support your friends and the art that you're creating together. And then when you're asked to step up to be a contributor to the art, you just should be prepared. That's all. So in like a jokey sense, we're like, we're gonna go fucking, play skee ball. We did that on the Anthem record.
Oh, yeah.
We went down to Santa Monica Pier and like, shot, circus punks and played skee ball and whatever while everybody was slaving in the studio. But that's.
Yes, I was watching that on the Anthem, like the recording DVD or whatever. Where you're like, we worked so hard, and then you're like, yeah, you went to the beach and the arcade, and you're like taking
Yeah.
the
Oh,
pics in like the phone booth and like the spa.
in the English sense, you should be able to take the piss out of yourself and enjoy it a little bit. So we do. We do.
Yeah. So like, I like that you find something like fun to do too, like when you're not playing. Like, I know Buddy too one time was like hitting with the drumsticks on the drums, and I was like, okay. But yeah, I said that. Oh, so I was gonna say, was it like your idea, like your guys' idea to not do the horns, or was it like the man or whoever was like, no, you
No,
shouldn't
it's
do that?
never really the man. Like
Okay.
there's edits that we had horn parts in and there's some versions of songs like on Anthem where we had group discussions about it. Do we want them here? Do we want them there? There was different, mixes and stuff. And, you know, of course, Buddy and I probably wanted every horn everywhere all over the place, but you have to sometimes know when to check your ego and just go, is this serving the song properly? So that's all life is. Because if you're just putting horns on something just to throw them on there, then what's the point? Like you're not making the song any better. You're just murking up the waters.
So I think your first album recording with the band was Anthem. And so I was like, how was, we kind of talked about that, but how was that? And like, how did you end up joining Less Than Jake?
Um, Anthem was great. We recorded in two different cities with Rob Cavallo. It was a huge budget we had. Spent like $1 million on that record or something ridiculous. Um, and I joined Less Than Jake, just mutual friends. I had no intention of joining Less Than Jake. It just sort of was opportunity was given. I was like, I always feel like if you're given an opportunity, you should at least, follow the path and see where it leads you a little bit. Like you can always walk away from it. There's nothing wrong in that. I just kept following the path and never stopped. So 26 years later, yeah, long time, still here. So.
That's good. Are you in the Gainesville Rock City video?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was you, but then I was like, that was what?
Yep. I joined the band
Okay.
for the touring of uh Borders and Boundaries. I was there for all of the touring. I didn't record that record, but did all the touring around it and all was in all the videos, which was just Gainesville Rock City, I think, for that video for that one.
Okay. So she's gonna break soon. Like, I don't know, to me it kind of seemed like a different type style of like Less Than Jake song. I don't know, I kind of took it as like the popular girl that's kind of falling apart on the inside. So I was wondering like, how did this song come about?
Chris wrote that song. I mean, he wrote it in the bedroom of his old house. Like Vinny had a bunch of lyrics, and it just when he started playing it, I was like, "That's a great song. We should work on that." That was like one of his first songs for Anthem. So
That's cool. Why'd you decide to go, or he decided to go about, I don't know, like about the popular girl and the.
I don't know. That's more of Vinny was, like
Okay.
I said, that was a kind of like him. That was he had Inspirato that hit him, and that's what he wrote about.
Okay. I like that it has Rory from the Gilmore Girls.
Yes, she was very cool. She's a very nice person.
Yeah, 'cause I like the Gilmore Girls. Oh yeah. Back to like about the horns. It said there was like a radio edit version of the "She's Gonna Break Soon" without the horns, and like as a single. Like I was gonna say too, like why did the single not have, like why didn't anyone have the horns on the single, or does
I
that
guess
not
that
work?
in that time period, they were trying to get stuff to radio and horns were not particularly doing it. Like new metal was very of the now. Then, it was a lot of Limp Bizkit and Corn, and we went on tour with Linkin Park in 2004. So I mean, like, it's you're just trying to if you're trying to be radio, sometimes you got to play the game, and that's part of it.
Yeah. Okay, so what's something people would be surprised to know about you?
Um, I'm Polish, I guess.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you like have any hobbies or collect anything? Or
Um, I have collections, like I have toy collections, and I have um record collections, and I have a lot of art and stuff. I don't my collecting, it's just kind of stuff that shows up. It's never been something that I'm like, ooh, I'm really into this. So
yeah. Oh, someone collecting things. I don't know. I like the anthem, the artwork things that came up with the songs. I don't know. Like I thought these were cool. I don't know. Like how did these come about? Like the little that has like
oh
each
no,
one for
that
each
was
song.
Vinny had an idea when we were doing Anthem
Oh,
to go have an individual artist come up with a piece of art based on the lyrics of each song. They didn't actually even hear the songs. It was just based on the lyrics. And like we got Obey the Giant, Shepherd Fairy to do stuff. There's uh Rose Garcia did one. There's some pretty good artists that did it. We almost got Banksy, but then he had gotten screwed over by Blur or somebody, Universal, I think, and so he wouldn't work with us, unfortunately.
oh, well, those are cool. I like them. It's like,
Yeah.
guess I'll change. Okay, so like it seemed like most of your stuff, like kind of until like the most recent one, had been like produced by Roger. And for Uncharted, why did you decide to go differently? Like,
Um, because we decided it was just time to do something different, and change is good. And Bill Stevenson, we everything that Roger had recorded was mixed at the blasting room by Jason Livermore, who was also co-producer on this. And we've been a huge fan of Bill Stevenson from Descendants for years. It just made sense for us to go and try it out, and we did, and we're really happy with the end result.
that's cool. I like it too. I was gonna say, oh yeah, so I like too, like your, I don't know, most of your songs are kind of serious, but then I like that you're also like funny, and like I really enjoyed too the late night with Les and Jake, like during the pandemic, and like you had like how you had like the commercials, but then you also had like the live stuff, and you had like the interviews, and you made it like the talk show. I don't know, I guess like how does all this come about, and like why do you decide to mix like the comedy and the music, and like I don't know, what are
Um,
your thoughts on that?
it's what who we are, like kind of what you see is who we are. What you see on stage is just an extension of who we are off stage. So we're always giving each other a hard time. We're always trying to laugh and have a good time because it's supposed to be fun. So we just try to let our comedy, we think we're funny, so we hope that everybody else thinks we're funny too. So
Yeah.
We sound pretty freaking good tonight. Let's hear it for us. Come on. Does anybody have an airline they fly exclusively out there? Like American, what do you fly?
Value Jet.
Value Jet. Value Jet. That's the one that crashed in the Everglades, Roger. Too soon, man. It happened in 1996. Too soon. It ended up being Frontier Airlines. Don't fly Frontier. They picked up Air Trans fleet. I fly Delta, and Delta fucked me 2 weekends in a row. They screwed me yesterday. I was supposed to be down here 6:30 last night to see all the bands, and
But then they bumped you up to first class tomorrow
they did
morning.
not.
Let's hear it for
They did
Chris,
not.
everybody.
Let's hear it for JR. J.R. Wazalewski on the sax for interrupting me. I was going somewhere with this.
You had a destination?
Last weekend we played.
Well, I always like that too. But it's kind of like if you just look at your songs, you wouldn't like if you never saw you live, I wouldn't expect it to be like as funny as it is.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah,
glad it is.
we try.
Okay. Do you have like a favorite TV show or movie?
Not really. I always like The Simpsons. Pretty good show.
I guess do you have like a best or like a worst? Like not like a live show you performed was that stands out?
Oh no, my favorite show is the last show that we just played.
Okay.
It's always great.
Someone else did that and I was like, I think you need to say Supernova if you don't know. But yeah, I guess what was it? Do you have any tour stories that are you allowed to tell that stand
Oh
out?
my gosh, no. They're never tour stories are things that happen in the moment and we laugh about it and then somebody reminds me because to me they're all just like blips, you know what I mean? I don't usually the ones that you remember are challenging, not fun, you know what I mean? So
Okay. I always ask people this too. So like, I don't know, is there a song that you thought like I guess would it kind of goes both ways. Is there a song that you thought that would be like popular and then the people didn't really like it, or a song that you like were surprised that a bunch of people liked?
no, I gave that sort of predicting up a long time ago. I don't like I said, once it's out of my hands, it's yours and
Okay. There's not one you're like excited about.
yeah,
The people.
I'm excited about all of them.
Oh, you like people like
When they
that.
come out, of course, I think they all have a shot. And then, like I said, people make up their mind and what they like. You know.
Well, I like Give Me Something to Believe In. So that's
Thank
good.
you. I'm glad that you like that.
Okay. So I guess and do you have any advice for anyone?
Yes, just keep going. That's the only advice that I can really offer. Because things seem hard, and when they seem hard, just keep going.
Okay.
If things don't seem like they're working your way, just keep going.
Maybe one day it'll work out.
Someday, if you just keep going, you'll find the end to that path. You just have to keep going.
So like I guess where can people find you on social media?
Everything is less than JR, pretty much. I only really use Instagram though, and sometimes Twitter, but that's about it.
Okay, cool. Well,
And
thank
just
you.
follow all the band stuff. You'll see me there.
Okay.
So
Yay. Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking time to do
you're
this.
welcome.
You gotta wake yourself up. You're coming from the door.